Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and here is a camera comparison of two mid-range smartphones with good hardware, the Zenfone Max Pro M2 and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 6 Pro. Both the smartphones have great hardware and also good camera hardware. So let's find out how they perform in this segment and which is a better device in terms of the camera performance. So talking about the specs, the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M2 comes with a dual camera setup with 12 megapixel f1.8 primary camera and a secondary 5 megapixel shooter for depth sensing. The front camera is a 13 megapixel shooter with f2.0 aperture with LED flash. Now moving on to the Redmi Note 6 Pro. It features a 12 megapixel shooter with f1.9 aperture and has a secondary 5 megapixel depth sensor. There is also a dual camera on the front panel with a 20 megapixel f2.0 selfie camera and a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera along with screen flash. Now let's go straight into the camera samples and see which is better. First, let's have a look at the video recording. Here both the smartphones can record videos in 1080p resolution. While the Zenfone Max Pro supports 4K recording, the Redmi Note 6 Pro does not support it natively. Both the devices have EIS, so the video looks stable on both the phones. The video quality is again quite similar, but the colors are better on the Redmi Note 6 Pro along with better overall quality. Also, in Zenfone Max Pro M1, you could see slight focus hunting issue. So in terms of the video quality, we would pick the Redmi Note 6 Pro. Next up, the daylight captures. Looking at the samples, you can see both the phones offer good imaging abilities and the sharpness levels are also quite similar. The colors are not really consistent on the Zenfone Max Pro M2 and it tends to wash out colors, especially when you're shooting images of the sky. It has a tendency to mess up the white balance. On the other hand, the Redmi Note 6 Pro looks good with consistent image quality. There is also Auto HDR mode available on the Redmi Note 6 Pro along with AI abilities. There is also an Auto HDR mode available on the Redmi Note 6 Pro with AI abilities, while the AI mode will come on the Zenfone Max Pro M2 with an update which is being rolled out in December later. The dynamic range is also good on the Redmi Note 6 Pro. In close-up images, you could see both the devices have good colors and produces sharp images. The details are also good on both the phones. So is the sharpness levels. Here again, color reproduction is consistent on the Redmi Note 6 Pro. Next, let's have a look at the low light captures. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 with the f1.8 aperture and the Redmi Note 6 Pro with f1.9 aperture produces decent low light captures. You could see noise levels are higher on the Zenfone Max Pro M2 when compared to the Redmi Note 6 Pro. When it comes to indoor shots, you could see the Max Pro M2 has brighter images and looks good, but again it comes with more noise. We would pick the Redmi Note 6 Pro here in terms of the overall imaging abilities. Now coming to the portrait mode. Here again you could see both these devices are capable of producing good portraits. The edge detection is better on the Redmi Note 6 Pro and Xiaomi once again proves that it is indeed the king in the segment when it comes to portrait mode. The edges on the Zenfone Max Pro M2 misses out on complex backgrounds. Finally, the selfie camera. The Zenfone Max Pro M2 has 13 megapixel selfie camera while Redmi Note 6 Pro has dual camera with 20 megapixel shooter. The selfie performance is good on both the devices, but the skin tones are slightly better on the Zenfone Max Pro M2, but the images are sharper and have more details on the Redmi Note 6 Pro. In extreme low light selfies and selfies with flash, again the Redmi Note 6 Pro looks better. The Redmi Note 6 Pro also offers portrait mode in selfies, while the Zenfone Max Pro M2 will get this feature via an update rolling out later this month. So as of now, the Redmi Note 6 Pro offers great portrait selfies. So this is the front-facing camera sample taken with the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M2. So it can record videos in 1080p resolution, and there is an update coming in for the front camera which will enable electronic image stabilization, so you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output from the front-facing camera. So this is the front-facing camera sample taken with the Redmi Note 6 Pro, which is a dual camera setup, and this can record videos in 1080p resolution. So you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the videos and also the audio output from the front-facing camera on the Redmi Note 6 Pro. So that was the camera comparison of the Zenfone Max Pro M2 with the Redmi Note 6 Pro. So summing up, which is the better camera smartphone? In short, we would say the Zenfone Max Pro M2 current camera needs a bit more updates with image processing as the color reproduction feels inconsistent. But on the other hand, the Redmi Note 6 Pro is easily one of the best camera smartphones in this segment with overall great imaging abilities and our pick of the two camera smartphones. So which is your pick among the two camera smartphones? Drop in your thoughts in the comment section. So this is Nirmal signing off with a camera comparison of the Redmi Note 6 Pro with the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro M2. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.